Hello and welcome to another Healthy Body, Healthy Mind. And the strange creature over here, as you know, is Mel Wakeman, who's resplendent in all-seeing, all-knowing pineapple glasses. But the truth be told, she can't see a thing. So she can't actually see even what's at the end of her nose, which is perfect because today we're going to talk about how we kind of slip out of things that really should be obvious to us. So I'm going to tell you a little story as I normally do. Is that okay? Is that okay, Mrs. Pineapple?
Please do. The world is kind of going round and round.
I think you need
but I'll keep them on for a moment.
I think you need to take them off before you're sick.
Far away.
Crazy chica. So I was saying to you earlier about this we know stuff, and stuff is so obvious to us, but sometimes we kind of slip into bad habits. We forget what we shouldn't eat, and sometimes it takes an off the cuff passing statement from someone else for you to go face palm, poke my eyes out. So what happened to me, and literally this is just a few days ago, I was bemoaning to my mum, my stomach is out here and I'm like fed up of this big bloaty blob, and I get up in the morning and it's kind of not quite flat because I need to do those plank things or something, and so I was saying to her about this bloated lump that just kind of keeps growing and growing in front of me, and I was a bit fed up of it. And she just, like, my mum is so lovely because she just makes these like really little simple statements, and she says, maybe you should stop eating yogurt. And it's like, oh my goodness me. So let me take you back in time. I think I was 38 years old. Ring, ring, ring. There's my mum on the phone. And she says, hello. Your dad and I have been talking. You can imagine it's like, oh no, what are they talking about now? And they had been kind of taking a journey back in time. And they were talking about the fact that every time that I drank milk, I was sick. And she told me this really lovely story. And my dad was fast asleep in bed, mouth open, snoring. And his darling little baby, that'd be me, beautiful baby, longed for, loved child, vomited in his mouth. It's like, well, that's a nice thing to remember. So, but the point of it is, and actually what is interesting, Mel, is that when my mum was pregnant, she was told to drink a pint of milk every single day. So you can imagine this little worm growing in her tummy, that's me, is being fed something that clearly I didn't know that I didn't like it when I was in the womb, but she's necking a pint of milk every day because I guess that the advice is you needed the milk because there was the risk of osteoporosis, or you needed calcium or whatever during pregnancy. You'll know better than me. So she necks all this milk, and then I spring into the world. Breastfed is great, not a problem. The minute she puts me on cow's milk, I am vomiting all the time. And I don't know if you're old enough to remember, or we used to have milk in school. At least to make you drink milk, and often it was like lukewarm. I mean, talk about vomit-tastic. It was disgusting. So my mum forced me to drink milk. The school forced me to drink milk. It was like milk everywhere you went. There's you've got to drink milk because it's good for you. And all those adverts, with people with like mustaches. And so anyways, I'm 38 years old. Mum tells me that she and dad remember these wonderful experiences of this constant vomiting child. And I just go, Mum, you're taking 38 years to tell me something that is really, really vital to my health. So anyway, long story short, I cut out cow's milk product, and started experimenting, looking at things like, goat's milk and goat's cheese and sheep and vegan cheese, anything that wasn't made from cow's products. So time goes on. I haven't had milk for donkey's years. And I have like rice milk and different kinds of plant-based almond milk and stuff like that on my cereal. And I just thought, oh, this is like really weebly and thin, and I want yogurt. I want yogurt. So I start buying yogurt. I've got 3 dogs, so we have a 2-pack every day. So they have, all I'm having is half a thing of yogurt. That's all I'm having, and it's delicious. And my breakfast is delicious, and I'm really enjoying the delicious flavor. And it's got bifidus, so it's good for me, and it's good for my little tummy thingy microbiome. That's the one, isn't it? That's the one. I remembered. So I just slip out of this. I'm not supposed to eat this stuff because I haven't eaten for years, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. And it's just literally that throwaway statement from my mum that goes, maybe you shouldn't eat it. And I swear honestly, day 2 that I'd given it up, I did have a swelly tummy. I haven't had a swollen stomach since, and I'm gutted because I want to eat yogurt. So the thing is, Mel, from a nutritionist point of view, you must see this a lot, that people come to you and they go, like, I'm itching, or my hair's falling out, or I've got like bad breath and I'm constipated, or I've got diarrhea, I've got a swelly tummy. And they don't make that really obvious connection to the food. Now, that through a series of things that have gone on in my body, I keep changing my diet. So it's like, well, let's try this and let's try that. And I now have, super healthy diet, except for cake and the odd bit of chocolate, which does make me itch. But, sometimes you just got to do it. But you must see this so much that people come to you and they are not connecting. If I eat this is going to happen. Or if they have given stuff up, they've completely forgotten, like, I don't know, life's got in the way, their emotions have got in the way, and they've gone off track. So talk to me a little bit about kind of how you help them to oh, you got your glasses off. Oh, there's a woman in there.
Oh, that's better. I was thinking, when's she going to ask me to speak and I'll take them off?
You can speak now. So it's that making that connection really between, I guess it's emotional, it's physical, it's the stress based. I mean, there must be so much going on. So how do you help people to connect those pieces?
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's part of the answer. There's so much going on, and there's stuff going on in our life that we're just generally not, listening to our body. We're not sitting and allowing ourselves to feel. The idea of doing nothing and feeling everything is kind of, oh God, that's uncomfortable, and I haven't got time for that, And then we're also told, eat this, eat that, don't eat this, don't eat that, or you've got to do this, have you done this? And there's like 50 million messages coming in. And then, when people come to me, they're like, I'm so confused, I don't know where to begin. And I've tried everything. I've tried giving up all of these foods. And the thing is, when you do a proper elimination diet, which I help my clients do, there's a really sort of strict process to it. And I think people underestimate how long you need to go without certain foods in order to test if your body's then going to react to them. So we kind of rewind a little bit and come back. I speak to lots of people that come to me with bloating, with IBS issues. And for me, it's about ruling out, is food problematic? So, what could the potential dietary triggers be? And you'd look at the most common ones, which are typically dairy foods. Now, it's interesting around your dairy, because I wonder whether it's lactose, which is the milk sugar, or what you can also have is a cow's milk protein allergy, which is the casein side of things. So when you talked about trying goats products and sheep products and actually having yogurt, what we don't necessarily think about, and I'm not expecting everyone to know this, is that but the lactose content of different animals is different. Yes. So for people that have a cow's lactose intolerance, they may be able to tolerate cows and sheep products because they have a lower lactose level. And also, if you've got a mild intolerance, you might well tolerate yogurt because the fermentation process of the milk lowers the lactose content itself. So for you seem to be pretty sensitive, and it may be one or the other in terms of both a lactose intolerance because your body just doesn't make enough of the lactase enzyme, or it's not active enough, or you've got a challenge around the casein and the milk protein, in which case it could be a whole collection of dairy products that is a problem.
So is the casein, I have no idea, is that in sheep and goats and is it
it's different for bovine, for cows as it is, right. Yeah, but it's common that the cow's milk protein allergy it comes up in early childhood. It's typically around that transition.
You've cured me.
from breast into cow's milk, or from different types of formulas onto cow's milk. Yeah,
that's, sometimes I was saying that my mum did a throwaway comment. You just now made another throwaway comment, and I'm sitting there going, well, blow me over with a feather. I've got goosebumps all over me, because I'm suddenly going, well, there's no way I can't go back in time and test it, which would be quite interesting if I could manifest myself back as a small child. But isn't that curious that is actually what it could be? Because, my mum said to me, she said, because she doesn't have cow's milk. She goes, I've tried all the lactose-free products, she said, and they all make me feel ill. It's like it's another palm in your face moment. So, when I have a conversation with her today, I'm going to be very intelligent.
There you go. You see, but this is the thing in terms of, I wouldn't expect you to know that and to work it out. And I think, but when it comes to our health, and particularly when it comes to our diet, because there's so much information out there, we kind of expect ourselves to know it because we've heard and so said, and I read this. And this is where I come in terms of helping you find the clues and join those dots together. And I think the other element of it, in terms of why don't we know these things, is because sometimes it's not even the food. It may not be, an intolerance or a dietary trigger. It might be the stress. It might be that you're not sleeping well. It could be a whole collection of things. And I also have worked with so many people that have gone, God, I was convinced it was wheat, gluten. They may well have done these food intolerance tests, and they've told them that they can't have eggs or yeast and all of these things. And they have been able to navigate through that elimination diet, but actually it wasn't even to do with that. It was just that they weren't in a very happy place. And that's also what happened to me. I had probably 7 or 8 years of being wheat-free, gluten-free, dairy-free. I was convinced that all of my digestive problems were down to food. I saw a dietitian. I had cameras up my bum. I had all the rest of it. Left a quite difficult relationship. And I was like, all of my problems disappeared.
I've been through the same.
Yeah.
I've been through the same. I remember going to a counsellor once, years ago, and she made me take, well, she didn't make me take it, but she gave me slippery elm, which is actually absolutely fantastic for soothing the digestive system. What we didn't address was the fact that I was a hit like you. I was in a dreadful relationship. Well, no wonder I wasn't. I could take all the slippery elm I liked, but maybe the best thing to do was to smack him around the head with the slippery elm and, make a quick exit. But it's like not making that connection, and I think you do that so beautifully, because you're looking at somebody as a whole being, not just the food that they take. Because we truly, when we're, right at the beginning of lockdown, we talked about this at another time. I don't eat chocolate. I went and bought bars of chocolate like this and just hoovered them all up, because I kept saying, this is fine. I live in isolation. I'm not stressed. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, my behaviour was of a woman who was a little bit anxious. It's like, oh, chocolate.
Yeah.
I don't normally eat this, but I'm going to stuff, and I'm back down to the point where it's like, I'm not interested now.
Yeah.
We are so peculiar and complex.
You start in terms of, sometimes you can't see the things on the end of your nose. And I think, when we're living life and we're in it, and we can't see the wood for the trees, that's the moment, I think, when people are feeling stuck. But actually, let's say they come to me because they need that fresh pair of eyes that knows what to look for, but also knows maybe the perspective at which you need to look at and change up how you're looking at yourself, and then going through, a sort of a tried and tested process that actually works. So the idea of elimination diet, I speak to lots of people that go, right, that's it, I've cut out all of the wheat, dairy, various foods that are typically triggers, as it were, and they've never looked at introducing them back into the diet. And I think what worries me sometimes is that we go into this elimination process, and we're just literally stabbing in the dark quite randomly. Well, I'll just try that. And when our diet is routinely complicated, we're generally not encouraged, but we do focus on the minutiae of our diet. We're like, oh, I'm just thinking about the sugars, or I'm just thinking about the individual components, which kind of like hurts my head when you try and think about it, because we eat a whole diet. And we get caught up in changing our diet really quickly and not giving ourselves long enough, or thinking about, okay, if it's lactose, let's say, if it's dairy products, okay, what foods do I eat? What food is it hidden in the ingredients label? Because if you're doing a proper elimination diet, you have to get rid of the whole kit and caboodle, the whole lot, for good 6 to 8 weeks. Just one food, trigger food, and then you'd slowly reintroduce it. You would challenge and test your body. And interestingly, with your yogurt story, you were okay for a little bit, weren't you? But then as it accumulates in your body, what can happen in terms of removing certain foods is that if you give your body a rest and very, very, very slowly reintroduce it over a couple of weeks, you may find that you can tolerate it. But if you're then going, right, okay, well, no, I'm going to see if dairy's a problem. Wham bam, every single day, going back to your normal amounts, not a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, once a day, and then maybe 2 days time, but straight back to normal. Your body will go, no, it's okay. Oh no, it's really not okay. It's not okay. And it all comes flooding back, because it's like an accumulative process.
I mean, I'm massively grateful for my body, because it communicates with me in all kinds of different ways. You were talking about the gluten example. I gave up gluten when I got an overactive thyroid. Someone told me that there was circumstantial evidence that it was implicated, and I thought, I really don't want to do this, because what do I adore? Crusty bread, big chunky cheese, good cheese for me. I absolutely adore, beautiful bread. So it actually was very difficult. But I in my mind, I thought, okay, I have a good diet. I'm eating things with gluten in. What if it's true? What if that is actually true? And that I turned a very dangerously, like my thyroid stimulating hormone was practically non-existent. The doctor was a bit surprised that I slept well and looked so well, and he was just looking at my test going, you shouldn't be alive, And so in that 6-week period, I gave that up, and I sort of looked at a few other things. My thyroid went back to normal. So what I have noticed is that, so I don't have any gluten in my diet. If someone accidentally gives me gluten, I am ill.
Yeah.
So I know, but I know within a really short space of time. And I know some people, a lot of people get bad tummies with gluten. What happens to me? My hands completely seize up. So imagine if I've gone out for the evening, someone has given me, and this is a real live example. Went out for an evening. I ordered a gluten-free pizza. I ate 2 slices, and my little inside voice went, "You've just eaten gluten." There was absolutely nothing to say that I'd eaten gluten. I just heard this voice say, "You've eaten gluten." And my hand, and I think maybe what it was is my hands had started to hurt. So maybe that was by the time I tried to drive my car home, I could hardly use my hands. Just like that is how fast that happened with me. So I understand that that's not a good thing to try and eat ever again. So that's easy for me to do because I had that accident. But I've heard a lot of people saying things like, "Oh, gluten-free is rubbish. You need gluten in your diet." In fact, I read that about 3 days ago. Someone wrote, "It's utterly ridiculous. Your body needs gluten." And I just thought, I can't say anything. I mean, there are so many. I mean, I've never been tested for celiac disease except on a thing that measures your energy with a nutritionist that has a PhD in biochemistry. She used this
kinesiology, is it, or something?
Well, it was a really strange machine, and she did kind of all kinds of tests with different fingers. But when I went in to see her, Mel, she said, "Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know anything about you." And this little machine spurted all this stuff out, and she told me everything that I knew, with a few other things, already about my diet. And I'm like, how? Like, I believe in energy, but I was still utterly amazed. But I trusted her because she has a PhD in biochemistry. That's the only, I've got a pendulum. I've done dowsing for food with my pendulum. So I believe in that energetic thing. But I still think that we are our best monitors.
Oh God, yes, definitely.
But the problem is, it is so utterly complex. Like, if I hadn't have sorted out, like I've sorted out nutritionally, right? Overactive thyroid, shingles, post-herpetic neuralgia, MGUS is non-curable, but most people die with it than from it, and B12 deficiency, and osteoporosis, right? So I've worked with all of those things over a period of years. They didn't all just hit me in one go, but I'm my best instrument experiment. But imagine if all of those things I had together, and now imagine I'm taking, I can't think what the drug is, thyroxine for thyroid. So imagine I was taking thyroxine. Imagine if I was given a bisophenate or whatever they're called for my osteoporosis. Imagine if whatever those other, antivirals, because I didn't take an antiviral. Imagine if someone just overloaded their body with all of those drugs, all of those things. They didn't know what they could eat, and how do they find their way out of that maze, Mel, without someone like you? I mean, come on.
And I think, it's much more likely now that people are sort of carrying with them underlying conditions that may be on medications. And I think, when we look at our individual needs, they are so unique. And of course, what we see out there is that one size fits all. And I think what you're really talking about here is that you have learned to trust your body.
Yeah.
And so many people don't. And the reason they don't trust it is because they don't know how to listen to it. They don't know where to begin. And that's no criticism. I completely get that, because it's just a minefield out there. And also, we're told all the time that, hey, your body isn't even worth it. Your body's not good enough. Why would you want to trust it? You don't respect your body. So in order to, navigate through these complexities, it does require time, effort. I'm not saying this is easy, is it, Dale? This has taken a long time for you.
Yes.
But to take that time to respect your body, and this is about, when I talk to people about body respect, and even around sort of the idea of body positivity, really, this is about doing things that support your body to better your well-being and your emotional health. Not sacrificing it for other people. And I get the idea of FOMO. I get the idea of, oh God, the idea that I'd have to miss out on, bread, chocolate, dairy. It's not easy. It's like, my God, these are the things that I look forward to in my life. What am I going to look forward to now? But you work it out, and you respect that this is the way that your body needs to live,
It's really interesting. I mean, I journal a lot, all the time. I journal. And it's very interesting when you look at the energy or the kind of words you're using. So imagine, right, you've got a bloated stomach. There's all kinds of stuff going on in your life, and you're in your journal and you're going, I am sick of being tired. I've had a guts full of life. And you're using words that are communicating back to your body. You've got a guts full. Well, no wonder you're bloated. I am tired of being tired. And your body goes, oh, tired. Oh, God, I'm going to send you back to sleep. It's so there's so many complexities. There's like the way that we talk to ourselves, the stuff that, writing in your journal is a great way of discovering your emotional connection to your body and the energy that you are resonating. I bet you any money if I went and got my journal, I've written, tired of being tired. I mean, that's probably why I'm saying I'm tired of being tired. I've had a guts full of bloatedness, and I've had a guts full of being tired, and it's in the combination what I'm eating with that emotional state, but that journaling, that keeping of that, food and mood, and however you want to do it, it's like so incredibly powerful because the clues are in the words.
Yeah. See, I had this sort of conversation last night with a client, and we were talking about writing it out, kind of doing the brain dump that we've talked about before, and the language, it was really negative. Now I get, there's going to be times when you're angry and pissed off and annoyed with yourself and at life and everything, and okay, get it out, but this was carrying on. It was like a daily diatribe of you're this, you're that, and it's like, well, of course you're going to be that because you keep telling yourself. So to use the journal to rewrite that, to flip it, reframe it into something that's positive, you've got to do something with that information, haven't you?
You do. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I know. See, if you imagine that your body is a planet, like we've got planet Earth, and on planet Earth is all these little humans, and they're all communicating with each other. I hate you. You're horrible. Shut up. And okay, there's lots of people who go, I love you, and whatever. But you imagine that here you are, you've got this lovely little planet, and all the little cells are all those little human beings, and they're all talking to each other, and they're going, I love you, you're a beautiful cell. And those cells are going to grow and flourish. I know I'm bonkers, but imagine that you're talking to your cells in this ugly way, and the cells are going, I hate you, I hate you. Disease, dis-ease starts to manifest. So, if you're watching this, are you looking at the world and how the world is operating, and how all that unrest and all that anger and all that stuff is happening, and watching how people are interacting? That's what's happening in your body. When you see people looting, screaming, aggressive, bullying, whatever, all that conflict. Now imagine your body, that's all happening inside of you.
Absolutely.
Right?
That disorganized world out there gets drawn into like disorganized world inside. And I over the last few days, I've seen it out there on social media. People are pissed off because they've gone through another sort of traumatic event, and like the world is angry at itself, and people are feeling that their mood has really dropped as a result. And of course that's going to affect our own motivation and how we feel about ourselves.
But see the thing about that is, Mel, it's like we're watching the outside world. You talked about that thing on the end of your nose that's not obvious. It's like we distance, we're watching it, it's like it's on the telly, so it's not really real, it's not, but all of that is sitting on the end of your nose. And for you and I, we know that obviously it's affecting our body, our mood. The knock-on effect is what, it's like this big, fat, ugly cycle. The world is in chaos, and it just keeps coming back to us. And if we're not writing about our emotions, writing about how we feel, writing about, how do we, like you said, reframe that, and then thinking about not only what we eat and what we drink and how we interact with everybody else, all that's happening in here is utter chaos. I mean, I can feel it sometimes. I sit watching it all and I'm like, oh, I just want to get off this planet. It's so
But sometimes, don't you think that chaos is quite addictive?
Yeah.
People like being stuck in the chaos, don't they?
See, I think addiction is a conversation for another time, because, like, my dad was an alcoholic. Well, of course, he's not. Well, he's dead now. Sorry, Dad, wherever you are. He's probably sitting on the bed going, "Don't you tell that alcohol story again." But he for him, it's hard to fight. You're addicted to alcohol. You try and give it up. Something happens. You go back to your crutch. That everything is like a never-ending cycle until you find some way to stop it. And for me, and I think this is a great place to stop. For me, life's bloody complex. So go and talk to somebody who can help you break that complexity down and help you to understand, your emotional response to eating, and start to eat things. We all go off the rails sometimes, but start to eat things that your body's going to go, "I love you." Because, at the end of the day, wouldn't you rather get to like 80 or 90 or whatever it is, feeling like you want to be some batty old whatever who's having a bloody great time dancing in the street? Well, I do. I want to be that mad old woman. Not mad. I want to be that vibrant.
I can see you doing it right now. I can see you there. I can. So you help, heal through writing. You're like my journaling guru. Where can people find you, Dale? How do they embrace more of this in their life?
Okay, so you can find me at dalediley.com. You can find me on Facebook, obviously my name. I don't go under any, I know we had this conversation last week when we started giggling. I don't go under any other pseudonym. I have an online school called the Soul Writers Academy, but you can find everything on dalediley.com. Come and find me. I'm nice.
Yeah, do go and find Dale.
And you, where do we find you?
You can find me in similar hangout places on social media. So I'm on as me, Mel Wakeman, on Facebook and Instagram. I have my anti-diet community, which is very much centered around body positivity and body respect. And my website is wakemannutrition.com. So there's loads of stuff on there in terms of my mood and food journal, lots of body positive stuff. It talks about my anti-diet system, which is my online program to help people heal their relationship with food and themselves. So yeah, come and find me. Say hello.
Thanks, Mel. Great to talk to you again. See you soon.
Bye.